So, am I live?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll start. Then, shall I start?
Give me a sec. Yes, you are live.
Okay, then I will start. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ulrich Berk, and today I'm talking about effects of Agnihotra on our environment and on organic farming. I had prepared a PowerPoint presentation, but it is a pity on this Facebook Live platform. It's not possible to share the presentation. So I will just have to explain you in words. I don't have the graphics which I could show. That's a pity. So the subject of this presentation is Homa organic farming. If we want to achieve global food security, we also need to think of rural development. And the main question is, in which direction should this development go? It seems obvious that we have to go in the direction of organic farming. Why organic farming? Agrochemicals in farming have led to a severe pollution of the atmosphere, water resources and the soil. Just let us look at soil health. According to data from FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, about 1/3 of the world's soil already has been degraded. And they say, unless new approaches are adopted, the global amount of arable and productive land per person in 2050 will only be a quarter of the level of 1960, and that will not be enough to feed a growing number of population. And then let us look at air pollution. Air pollution also damages the plants a lot. The leaves are damaged, and that makes plants more vulnerable to pests and diseases. Photosynthesis is reduced, growth is reduced, and as consequence of that, the yield goes down by 5 to 20% according to recent studies. So that means that organic farming is the only way to go. But there's an apprehension that when we move from conventional agriculture to organic farming, there will be a drop in yield. This we hear a lot. But if you use Homa organic farming methods, there will be no drop in yield. And yields are even higher than with conventional farming. There was one study at Nduat Agricultural University in Karnataka. Actually, it was 4 studies. 4 MSc theses were written on 4 different crops: soybeans, cabbage, tomatoes and okra. And in all these crops there was an increase in yield from 17%, 15%, 43% and 28% increase of yield compared to conventional farming. So there is a myth that if you go to organic farming, yield will go down. If you apply Homa organic farming methods, yield even comes up. Now, what is this method which increases yield, second reduces pests and diseases, and even improves health of the farmers? And second question, how does it work? Why is it so beneficial for growth of plants? The method is called Homa organic farming, and the basic tool of Homa organic farming is Agnihotra. Agnihotra is a simple fire done in a copper pyramid according to the biorhythm of sunrise and sunset. It comes from Vedic knowledge. And what is Homa therapy? It's the science of feeling the atmosphere through pyramid fires to eliminate pollution and contamination. And the smallest and basic Homa healing fire is Agnihotra. Agnihotra is tuned to the specific biorhythm of sunrise and sunset. It comes from the ancient, most Vedic sciences of bioenergy, medicine, agriculture, and climate engineering. For Agnihotra, we need certain materials. Essentially important is first the copper pyramid of fixed size and shape. Then the ingredients which we burn is dried cow dung, pure cow's ghee, some unbroken, unpolished rice grains. Then simple Sanskrit mantras, which is just exact vibration. And we need the exact timetable of sunrise and sunset. Why is that so important? Why the mantra and why the timetable? There's a description given in traditional knowledge which says that at sunrise the many fires, electricities, ethers and more subtle energies come all the way from the sun to the earth, and this flood of energies carries a subtle music in it. And the quintessential sound of that music is the morning Agnihotra mantra which we utter at that time. And when the sun sets, this flood recedes and there's another vibration. So it is interesting, that is confirmed by some American astrophysicists who said the same thing, and he said that at sunrise million ampere currents head on towards the earth, and at sunset these floods recede again. What is the Agnihotra procedure? At the time of sunrise or sunset, the flame should be already fully ablaze. So you have to start a couple of minutes earlier. Then you take a few grains of unbroken rice, akshat, and in your left hand, and or in a copper dish, and apply a few drops of pure cow's ghee. And then you divide into 2 portions, and after each swaha in the mantra you add 1 portion of that rice mixed with ghee to the fire. So it is in the morning Suryaya swaha Suryaya idam namama Prajapataye swaha Prajapataye idam namama. And in the evening Agnaye swaha Agnaye idam namama Prajapataye swaha Prajapataye idam namama. And then what happens is, it is said that the channel is created through all the atmosphere, and prana energy, which lies above our atmosphere, comes down through this channel, and an aura energy field is created around all plants nearby. This is why the plants get stronger, they get disease resistant. When the flame dies, this energy comes back and is collected in the Agnihotra ash. This is why the ash has healing properties, can be used to heal our plants, give nutrition to the plants. We can add it to the irrigation water. But also it can be used as medicine for humans and for animals. So what happens if you perform Agnihotra? Agnihotra purifies our environment, the atmosphere, water resources and the soil, and thus brings all nature back to harmony. So let us look at some examples, some studies which have been done. First, the effect of Agnihotra on our atmosphere. It is very important to see that for agriculture, atmosphere plays an important role. Modern science speaks normally only of soil analysis and water analysis, but not much about the atmosphere. But ancient science says that more than 75% of nutrition to plants and soil comes through the atmosphere. So if you make the atmosphere more nutritious and fragrant by Homa, a type of protective coating comes on plants and diseases, fungi, pests and so on do not thrive. Plants' capacity to breathe increases and the toxic effect of choking to death due to atmospheric toxins is eliminated. So let us see how Agnihotra reduces air pollution. There are different levels of air pollution. One is biological, second is chemical, third is physical. Biological, that is mainly bacteria. So if you have bacteria in the air, you perform Agnihotra, the count of bacteria goes down drastically. This has been experimented several times at different universities, for example at Palampur Agricultural University. And there's a decrease in the count of bacteria of up to 90% by just one Agnihotra. So if you would then continue and perform Agnihotra again next sunrise or sunset, then it will go down more. And that has been published also several times. Now, what about chemical air pollution, physical air pollution? Chemical air pollution is mainly SOx and NOx. So what we did at North Maharashtra University in Jalgaon, we performed Agnihotra, measured the SOx, NOx values before Agnihotra, and then after Agnihotra we measured again, and then sometime after Agnihotra again. So then also we measured particulate matter, and particulate matter, the physical air pollution, is creating a big problem, especially now in times of COVID-19. That is very important because studies show that in areas where there's high air pollution, high particulate matter, the infection rate is higher. This is why these bacteria as well as viruses, they attach to aerosols, and if there's a lot of aerosols in the air, they stay there in the air for a longer time. So if we can reduce particulate matter, it also will help to reduce infection of COVID-19. So what we have seen is that just while burning the fire, there are some additional particulate matter, some just smoke particles, but then values go down by approximately 30 to 40%. Both chemical, SOx, NOx, as physical particulate matter, all go down by approximately 30-40%. One other important point is negative ions in the air. Negative ions are known to be an indicator for fresh air. So lack of negative ions means polluted air. And normally any smoke reduces the amount of negative ions. But an experiment done in Germany a long time ago showed that the amount of negative ions increases opposite to what was expected. Actually, the engineer who did the experiment, he asked me, will there be smoke? When I told him about Agnihotra, I said, yeah, there will be smoke. And then he said, we don't have to do the experiment because any smoke will reduce the count of negative ions. So I said, okay, let's try. And so we did. And when I performed Agnihotra, the count of negative ions went up. He was very much surprised. And these negative ions may help to purify the air, for example, of bacteria in the air, and of viruses in the air. Now, that was the effect of Agnihotra on the atmosphere. Let us look at the effect of Agnihotra on water resources. There was one experiment done in Pune some time ago. They took water, non-potable water from a river, and they took this water and poured it through a cylinder, a glass cylinder, which was filled with Agnihotra ash. So this very impure water was poured through it, and what came out at the bottom of this column, that was water which was um, drinking water quality. Um, Conductivity was approximately 50% less total solid content, 90% less hardness, 84% less biological oxygen demand, 48% less chemical oxygen demand, 7% less, and bacteria were 98% less. Another study was done near Mumbai. Uh, there was some textile industry, and the effluent from this industry was highly toxic. Even with 15% concentration, means 15% of this effluent and 85% fresh water, aquatic life was not possible. So what they did is they added half a gram of Agnihotra ash per liter to this effluent concentration of 15%, and then biotic life was possible again. Also, the COD went down by more than 50% just by adding half a gram of Agnihotra ash per liter. An interesting observation was done in Australia. Australia in an area, in a very dry area. And so these people, they made a bore well, and the water was highly saline and alkaline. pH was 9.5 and salinity 1150 parts per million. So this water was not, could not be used for plants, for animals, or forget about drinking. What they did is they performed Agnihotra next to the bore well and added Agnihotra ash regularly, say once a week, to the bore well. And after 6 months, the pH came down to 7.2 and salinity came down to 720 parts per million. Means they got drinking water quality by just adding Agnihotra ash and performing Agnihotra next to the bore well. Okay, let us have a look at the soil. Soil is very important. There's a Sanskrit text written approximately 1500 before Christ, and that says, "Upon this handful of soil our survival depends. Husband it, and it will grow our food, our fuel, and our shelter, and surround us with beauty. Abuse it, and the soil will collapse and die, taking humanity with it." And according to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United States, already 1/3 of the world soil has been degraded, which I mentioned that before. Now, unless new approaches are adopted, the global amount of arable and productive land per person in 2050 will be only a quarter of the level of 1960. And that will just not be enough to feed the growing number of people. So the soil has to be rejuvenated first, and that can be done with Homa therapy methods. In the rejuvenated soils, different types of microorganisms, starting from the level of viruses, bacteria, fungi, and algae, thrive. And thus a healthy microflora and microfauna is created. Let us see some studies. One is about solubility of phosphate. You know, normally there's enough phosphorus in the soil, but it is there in a not water-soluble form, so plants can take it in. It's useless for plants. Only the water-soluble portion can be utilized by plants. Now, this experiment done in US maybe 30 years ago they added Agnihotra ash to the soil, and the percentage of water-soluble phosphate came up from 0.42 to 1.72. So that was a big increase. So that means you do not have to add this chemical fertilizer, rock phosphate, which farmers normally do. And the same experiment was repeated in Germany some time ago at some government research institute, and it showed the same thing, that Agnihotra ash helps to increase the water solubility in phosphorus in soil. Now the question is, how does it work? What's the mechanism? There was one hypothesis saying that phosphorus solubilizing bacteria are responsible for that increase in plant available phosphorus. And now this hypothesis has been tested and it has been confirmed. There was some experiment done at some college in Ratnagiri. They added 1% of Agnihotra ash to soil, and they found that there was an increase in nitrogen fixing bacteria. They increased 100 times, and phosphorus solubilizing bacteria increased even by 1,000 times. So that means we do not need all these normal chemical fertilizers. And interesting is, at the same time, fungal flora was controlled by adding Agnihotra ash. There are some other studies which show that different types of soil microbes increase, beneficial soil microbes increase, and harmful pathogenic soil microbes are controlled. For example, different kinds of fungi which are harmful, as Perigillus fumigatus, Coletotrichum, and Fusarium, they all were not growing when you added Agnihotra ash. Otherwise, without Agnihotra ash, they grew quite a bit. And then beneficial microbes, when you add Agnihotra ash, they grow much more. Like, for example, Bacillus pumilus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Klebsiella pneumonia, and so on, for soil. Beneficial bacteria, they grow if you add Agnihotra ash. Another subject is sodic soil, saline soil, and acidic soil. There are large areas in India where we have sodic, saline soil, and on the other hand also acidic soil. And it's a problem because there plants do not grow, or do only grow to a very limited extent. So one trial was done on a farm of KVK in Unnao, which is between Lucknow and Kanpur in UP. And the pH was 9.86. So they did 3 plots. One plot agrochemicals, one plot organic using some vermicompost, and third plot organic, also vermicompost, plus Agnihotra ash. And then see what happened. After one season, only one season, the pH with the agrochemicals was the same, 9.86. With organic, using vermicompost, it came down a little bit to 9.06, which was already quite a good result. But with organic and Homa, Agnihotra ash, it came down to 7.67, more than 2 points reduction in pH. That is nearly neutral. So this pH of 7.67, you can grow nearly everything. And that was just in one season, so 3 months. That was really an astonishing result. Now you could say, okay, if you add Agnihotra ash, pH comes down. But it's not like that. There was one example in Poland, a farm where the soil was very acidic, pH was 4.4, and agricultural engineers who came and looked at the site, they said nothing will grow there, forget about it. But still, these people tried. They performed Agnihotra regularly and added Agnihotra ash to the garden along with some compost. And within 1 year, everything grew there, including tomatoes, vegetables like that. Nobody in that area can grow this, but they had wonderful and bountiful production. So now, if you look at that, there are approximately 4 million hectares of sodic and saline soil in India, and alone 2.5 million hectares alone in the Ganga plains of India. And then also you have more than 6 million hectares of strongly acidic soil, pH less than 4.5. Remember, in Poland we had 4.4. And that is especially in Arunachal Pradesh. So if these lands could be reclaimed and made productive again, that would help a lot to increase agricultural production and would help a lot to feed a growing number of people. So what we suggest is to start a small project on either acidic or sodic soil, or best on both. And the investment for such a trial is manageable. But the possible gain is huge, considering all the areas, together 13 million hectares, which could be made productive. Now, what is the effect of Agnihotra on plants? We have reports that in various crops, diseases are controlled. Various crops in different climatic zones also, like the woolly aphid in sugarcane, mango hopper and mealybug in mangoes, bollworm in cotton. Also, it has been shown that Agnihotra increases the yields in crops like soybeans, mangoes, bananas, vegetables, and so on and so on. Several experiments have been done at universities, agricultural universities of Palambur, Coimbatore, Uti, Dharwad, and so on. There's a documentation, and you can see reports and more info on the webpage www.homafarming.com. Simple experiments which everybody easily can do at home, or on college level, even on school level, is with germination of seeds. That is the most simple thing, because it's pretty fast and it's pretty easy to control the situation, because you just take some petri dishes, put some tissue, and then some seeds, and then you add tap water one way, and then you add tap water and Agnihotra ash, and you see a big difference. With Agnihotra ash, seeds grow much more, although the germination rate is increased. But now one could say, yes, but anyway, any ash has nutrients, so any ash will help the germination of seeds. And that's true. If you just take ash from some wood fire, then you add it, it will also help the germination. Correct. So what we always do is, we do not only compare tap water with Agnihotra ash and tap water, but also we prepare something which I call control ash. That is, we take the same ingredients, cow dung, cow's ghee, some grains of rice, and we even burn those ingredients in some copper vessel, but not the pyramid-shaped copper vessel which we use. We use some other copper vessel. And we don't do it at the time of sunrise sunset, and we do not use the mantras. But otherwise, the combustion process should be same. And if we use this control ash, then there will be the control ash will increase the germination compared to just plain tap water, yes, but still there's a big difference to using proper Agnihotra ash. So you can see, yes, Agnihotra, the specific disciplines of Agnihotra really make a difference. It is not just burning some substances, so there is more. There's also more involved than just chemistry. Then also you can do a simple experiment by growing some plants. One is in Agnihotra atmosphere and the one is away. It should be quite a bit away. Most studies they do it just in the next room, but in next room still they get some effect. But again, there is some increase both in shoot length and in root length. You could say approximately 20, 30%, 40% increase in shoot length and in root length if you perform Agnihotra in the room. So it's not about, when we think of agricultural production, it is not just about the yield and the quantity, it's also about the quality and especially the nutrient content of plants. And studies have shown a decline of nutrient content of plants, and there are different reasons for that, like now mostly farmers are choosing higher yield varieties over those with good nutrient concentration. But reduced soil health and pollution of the environment also play an important role. And Ayurvedic doctors have confirmed that the medical potency of plants they use is declining because of pollution. So it's a problem because for them plants is the medicine. If we perform Agnihotra, secondary metabolites increase. We have seen vanilla. One Homa organic farmer in near Belgaum, Karnataka, he grew vanilla and he got it tested, and the vanillin content by weight was 36%. The best commercial result is 25 to 28% by weight. So the lab which did the test said there must be something wrong. 36% is not possible. So they run the test a second time but got the same result. That is because of the Homa method which he used on that farm. Another study was done in Krakow at the University of Krakow. They found out that all different parameters, quality parameters like dry matter, sugars total, sugars reducing, and organic acids were highest on an Agnihotra farm, higher than organic farm and much higher than conventional farm. So that shows that with Agnihotra, not just quantity increases, but also the quality of the food production increases, and that is very important for our health. And now in Corona times, we are talking a lot about the body's immune system. For immune system, there are many things important. One thing definitely is also the nutrition. If we eat healthy, fresh, healthy food, then our immune system is stimulated. So if we eat even healthy Homa-grown food, then it is much more so. More infos about Homa organic farming will be given in a presentation by Bruce Johnson from Australia later in this series of lectures organized by Nduat Masti. Now I want to say a few words about effects of Homa organic farming on biodiversity. Biodiversity means richness of nature, and it's known that the variety of plants and animals is getting less and less. Some main reasons probably are monoculture and the use of herbicides and pesticides in agriculture. Shocking was a study done recently, actually last year in Germany, which found out that within 25 years there was a reduction in insect population of 75%. 75% less insects in just 25 years. One of the scientists involved in the study said that is an ecological Armageddon, ecological catastrophe. Still, this is only one aspect of the loss of biodiversity which we faced, insect. Now, how can Agnihotra help? And that's a vast subject, and I only want to talk about two examples. One is invertebrates and the other one butterflies. The studies were done by Dr. Shailendra Sharma from Nduat, who's principal of the college there. And the first study was about invertebrates. What they did, it's a pity I can't show you the slide. What they did is they examined the bottom of the river Narmada, and they checked how many invertebrates are there, all different kinds, shrimps, insecta, gastropoda, and so on. And they did that in different stations. And there were two stations upstream, like Omkareshma and so on, and two stations downstream, and one that was our Homa therapy place, where Agnihotra is performed regularly, and some additional fires also. And it's interesting that both upstream, downstream, they were much less, and at the Homa place were approximately 40% more of all the different invertebrates. Similar study was done with butterflies, and here also we had approximately 40-45% more at the Homa therapy place of butterflies. For agriculture, one interesting technology is to have a resonance system where with one Agnihotra fire you can work on an area of up to 200 acres. And that means that because most farms in India, they are not so big, so that means that neighbors can work together and they share the cost and they share the work, and they can the area of this Agnihotra can be extended up to 200 acres. So different farmers come together and they all help together, and that also helps the rural community and makes them more independent, because with Homa farming you do not need any inputs from outside. The farmers are more self-reliant, and that's very good. Also, it helps their economy. So with Homa organic farming we can come to a sustainable future. We can achieve rural development from village level and thus guarantee global food security. And just as a side note, as everybody now is affected by this coronavirus restrictions, Agnihotra can also help with this corona problem. First, by reducing the probability of getting infected. I mentioned that because Agnihotra purifies the atmosphere, so there will be less of these aerosols to which the virus is attached. Second, by reducing pre-existing conditions like heart problem, asthma, diabetes, and so on, and thus leading to a less severe cause of COVID-19. And third, Agnihotra also supports the body's immune system, and that helps to overcome the infection if you still get infected. So, that was my presentation. Sorry again that I could not show you the slides because of some technical restrictions with this platform um, Facebook Live has. You can contact me through my email address, or better you go to the web page www.homatherapy, I'm spelling HOMATHERAPIE.de. It's not homatherapy like in English, but the German spelling it is with IE instead of the Y, and .de, which is standing for Germany. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening, and hope it was useful for you. If you have questions, please contact me. If you want to work together with this method, then we can give you more information, and this can be quite useful for you. Thanks again, and see you. Bye bye.